Have you ever struggled to get words on paper, to find the time or the energy to write and struggled with that?
I've struggled with that quite a bit at various times when I was writing a book or writing on a project that I had going. Yeah, it's tough.
I am so happy to hear that. And it is so good to have you on a video. You haven't joined us in a while. It's good to have you.
Well, thank you. It's been a little while since I've been on the videos, but I'm not sure that it's a good thing you're happy to hear that. It would be better if I didn't have that challenge, right?
Well, maybe, but we are going to address that challenge in this video. We're going to talk about having a positive mindset.
So tell everybody, Angie, what is your definition of a positive writing mindset?
A positive writing mindset is a way of thinking that fosters and encourages creativity, productivity in the written word.
So there are a lot of challenges that writers have that keeps them from that positive writing mindset. Things like self-doubt, they're insecure about their writing, or they have fears. There's a lot of stuff like that that prevents us from getting into that zone of a positive mindset.
Oh, absolutely. Things like editing, how to edit, when to edit, because we both edit differently.
We have a big conflict. We'll probably talk about that in a minute.
And things like confidence, having the confidence in what you're going to say. And then there's that little nasty thing of getting a bad review or bad feedback. There's lots of things that hold writers back.
Yeah, and I think you got to be careful, especially when you're getting feedback. I made this mistake a number of times. I've written something and I was so excited that I gave it to somebody to look at and give me some feedback. And their feedback wasn't positive. You know, I was expecting like, wow, this is brilliant. They just kind of was like, and it just shot me down. And so I've learned, and you should learn, be very careful who you give your work to get feedback in those early stages.
Yes, that's a really good point, because I've done the same thing. And I think most writers have too. You're so excited about it. You just want to have someone give you some attaboy, and it can be really dangerous if you are in progress of a work to get feedback that's not real positive. So choose your people that are going to review things wisely.
Yeah, and it's not just the negative feedback sometimes, but sometimes you just get stuck with writer's block and you're at the keyboard and just nothing happening, or you're using a pen and paper and it's just a blank page. We'll talk about that a little bit too.
Here are some key elements to developing a positive writing mindset. The first one is
discipline.
Oh, exciting.
Isn't it exciting?
Yes.
Discipline. What a topic. And just by saying that word, some people are going to go, there goes my writing mindset. I'm discouraged now. But don't be discouraged. Discipline is a key thing that helps us write and write better and grow in our writing skills. So for me, discipline is an essential element to the writing. Is it important to you?
Absolutely. It's really essential because writing is such a solitary thing, and it's such a long term without feedback and a positive outcome. And you have to have the discipline to go the long haul.
You really do. So for me, I have to write consistently. If I'm in the middle of a project, I need to write every day. Sometimes I miss a day here and there, but that's a struggle because when I get in the flow, I have to kind of keep the story going. So the discipline of writing every day is really important for me. Now, I'm not always really good at writing exactly at the same time every day because of my schedule and other things kind of get in the way, but I write consistently every day when I'm writing so that it is a discipline. And I find that that is a huge benefit for me.
Yeah, anybody you talk to about having a writing mindset or just being a writer, they talk about being consistent with your discipline to write consistently. It's super, super important.
So some people do a time period where they write for 30 minutes or an hour every day. Some people do a word count. I've done the word count. And I've done the time.
Yeah, I've done both too.
I've done both. I tend to like the word count because sometimes it's really hard. Like I did this challenge writing 1,000 words a day for, I don't remember, it was
a
supposed to
month.
be
I think it was
a
a month.
month or something like that. I ended up doing that for 3 months because I was just into it. And, at 2 in the morning when you're writing gibberish, just trying to get a word count so that you can say, I stayed with it. That's discipline. That's important as a writer.
And I think that it depends on where you're at in the stages of writing, because sometimes you have to put a time limit on your writing because you're doing revisions. And it's really hard to count a word count when you are revising something that you've written. And so that's why there's those two different types of developing that consistency and discipline.
Yeah. So we're developing a writer's group. Just a heads up, give you an insider tip here. We're developing a writer's group, and we're going to do a 30 by 30 writing challenge. So 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And we got a bunch of stuff that we're going to add into that.
Very exciting.
It's coming, but if you're interested, let us know. Put some comments down there. And as we develop that, we'll let you know so that you can be part of it.
The next area that is a key element is creativity. And so there are things that kill your creativity and there are things that feed your creativity. And it's really important to feed your creativity. So what feeds your creativity?
Oh, there's a number of things that feeds my creativity. So, when you sit down at the keyboard or with your pen and paper, however you write, and you're just kind of like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
There's a few things I do. So sometimes I have to listen to some music that's kind of upbeat and gets me in the mood. But this is a funny little nuanced thing. If I just put it on the stereo, it doesn't do the same thing. If I put it in earbuds, it kind of drowns out all the other noise and all my thoughts, and it really helps me focus. So music is one of those key things.
Music is something that has really helped me too. In fact, one of the things that I do is I put on a worship song. I do one worship song and let my mind focus on the Lord. And then when that worship song turns off, then I can be creative.
Yeah, that's great. Another thing that really helps me is when I review what I have previously written. Now, you can't do the whole thing, but if I wrote like 500 words the day before, I'll go back and I'll just read through that. And just reading through it, I tend to edit a little bit as I go. Mm-hmm. And then I really get back into the mode of the story or the details of whatever I'm trying to say. That review process helps.
It kind of gets you in the frame of mind.
It does.
Of where you were at when you stopped. I have heard some authors, when they stop the day before, they don't complete the sentence. So that when they go back to it the next day, they can pick up where they left off and finish the sentence.
I don't know about you. That'd drive me nuts. I can't do that. I have to finish the thought.
Well, I don't do that either, but I know it works for some people.
I would never go to sleep. I would still be like obsessing about that.
The other thing that helps me with my creativity is making sure that I have the right space to create in.
Yeah, your environment.
The environment. Yeah, the environment has to feed my creativity. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the other things, if I'm really stuck, going for a walk, even if it's just a really short walk outside, get some sunlight, something like that, it helps me. And another thing that is really helpful to me is to review what my goals are and why I'm writing. And doing that while I'm on a walk, kind of combining those things and then put on earbuds too, man, that really helps me to get back in the mode.
Yeah, those things help me too. And it's really important when you're talking about a positive writing mindset that you keep in mind what is going to spur your creativity on. But equally important is to keep in mind what is going to stop your creativity.
So what is the number one thing that kills your creativity? What would you guys say? What's your number one thing that kills creativity? Like this happens, it's turned off. What would you say?
For me, it's conflict.
Yeah.
Internal conflict in my environment. It just shuts me down and I can't be creative.
Yeah. Because we're a writing team, sometimes there's conflict.
There's never conflict. No.
Sometimes it's with the kids. Sometimes it's with us. But if there's conflict, it shuts it down. And so does stress.
Yes.
If you had a stressful day at work or, in something, and then you try to write, You got to have some space in between so you can kind of let go of that stress and get in the right mindset.
One of the things that I've done is if I have had a lot of stress in the day and I still need to write, is give myself permission to have a few minutes of downtime.
Yeah.
Before I try to force myself into creativity, allow my mind to relax and rest before pushing myself into that area.
I do that as well if there's stress or if I'm really tired, because being overtired can kill creativity.
Yes.
So sometimes like a 5-minute power nap for me, man, it just really gets me going again.
For me, it's 8 hours of sleep at night. That's what works for me.
More like 10.
10 is good. 10 is good.
Another essential element to having a positive writing mindset is this idea of continuous learning. And that kind of is the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset in writing. So what would you say about that?
I think that the fixed mindset has the attitude and the opinion that you're either born with the writing ability or not. You either have it or you don't. And the growth mindset says, I can learn, I can grow, I can be better today than I was yesterday. And that is essential to having a positive a positive writing mindset.
It is. And I'll just tell you, I could get on a soapbox with this. I know that some people are born with some natural abilities. I'm not denying that. But all of us can grow and develop in our writing. And so I'm just going to be vulnerable with you. I was a high school dropout and I couldn't write a sentence to save my life. But over time, I have grown, I have worked on that, I have diligently worked on that, and I've developed some skills. Now, I wouldn't say I'm the best writer in the world, but I can do a pretty good job because I've learned, I've developed that skills. You can develop those skills too. That's why things like educating yourself through videos like this or a writing group, mastermind groups, things like that are very important.
And we really need each other to grow. So don't isolate yourself and maintain community to maintain a growth mindset.
Another aspect of a positive writing mindset is the fact that people with a positive mindset just don't give up. They just keep trying. They keep going no matter what the obstacles, no matter if it's slow or if they have a setback, they just keep going. They keep trying, right?
They are very tenacious in their drive to write, and they don't let negative things stop them.
Yeah, so I can tell you that I told you earlier that I did this 1,000 words a day for 3 months, and I ended up with the book. I rewrote that book 3 times. Like, okay, I did it. Now this is really not really what I wanted. It's not that good. So I scrapped it and I started over. And it's that tenacity of not giving up that helps us to really make our writing better. Just refuse to quit and try again.
One of the examples of this that I love, because I've talked on my channel a lot about one of my all-time favorite books, which is Hunger Games. And Hunger Games was rejected 60 times before she got accepted by a publisher.
Isn't that crazy? I think Chicken Soup of the Soul was rejected like 83 times.
Yeah, a lot. And so a lot of these big authors, one of the things that makes them stand out is that they did not give up. And we can't give up if we want to have a positive writing mindset.
One of the things that will push you to give up is rejection. And when you see rejection coming, you just got to get ready to fight, because don't give in to rejection. Sometimes it's a bad review, a bad comment, somebody gives you bad negative feedback. Those things can really stifle you. And it can also just be your own self-doubt. For me, I know my first book that I wrote and published, I wrote the thing and then I wouldn't release it because I was confident in what I was saying, just not in my writing ability. My writing skills at that time were a little lacking. And so I allowed that negative thought to prevent me from publishing and moving forward. Now I look back on that and I'm like, are you kidding? I just hit publish.
Yeah, and we actually had that experience with our first fiction book, Shimmer. We published that and we were so excited about it. Yay, we did this. And we had this happen, and you might have something like this happen too. So this book we published it, and then we got some people in our church. Well, this one particular lady, she got the book, and the very next Sunday she came back and handed that book back to me, and she was mad at me because there were editing errors, and she didn't like one thing that was in the book, and she was mad.
She was brutal.
Oh, it was ruthless.
It was tough. So she left church crying. She was very upset. Like, we're going to throw the book away and all this stuff.
It was horrible.
Don't do that.
No, because that book right now currently has 38 reviews. 25 of them are 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously people like it. Not everybody has to like what you write.
Yeah, so don't let those things cause you to give up. You have to press forward so that you can grow and learn. And from our first book, the Shimmer, the fiction book, we've learned to add a few commas here and there. And, you know, our editing is better. Everything about what we've done is better. And we've got a lot more books published, and we got more books that are ready to publish because we didn't give up. So don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your project. You can do it.
And you can do it with a positive writing mindset.